Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. I have my From Now Until the Darkness Claims Us mug with a dragon on it. I don't really like Throne of Glass, but I really like Manon and Abraxos, and it's got a dragon on it, so I mean, come on. And I love stoneware mugs. Today's video is going to be my birthday book haul. So these are just going to be some books that I've hauled throughout the last couple of months and some specific birthday presents or things I got myself for my birthday. I did not ask for a lot for my birthday this year. Instead, I asked for some money because I'm planning on getting a tattoo and tattoos are expensive. So I asked for money for that. And hopefully when I get that, which should be this year, fingers crossed if I can get in when their booking opens, I will post about it on here, maybe take you on a vlog, maybe just show you the work. I'm gonna get it on my arm here. But I'm very excited about it and it'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's just get into this birthday book haul. So you know the drill by now, whenever I do book hauls, that I always do my subscription book boxes first, just because I fly through them, because I do unboxings and talk about the books in those, so I just kind of show you and then move on with those. So we have The Fairy Loot, This Vicious Grace by Emily Fieldy. Beautiful. There you go. We also got the Illumicrate We Fall Down, which has these really cool edges. Yep. And in one of the Fairy Loots, I don't actually know if I've hauled this, but we have Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Weber. It's a stunning paperback edition. We also have The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon and The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd-Jones. I think that's all the book box ones at the moment that I haven't already gotten rid of because I did unhaul some of them because I had extra copies, etc. But I didn't do an unboxing of this because it came at like a weird time. But I am now a Goldsboro subscriber for the science fiction and fantasy box, and I got June as my first one, and that was Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. And it's really pretty. Goldsboro always has these like plastic covers on it, which is very helpful. And the pages are insane. They are so detailed. I feel like the camera does not do it justice. Look at it. It is beautiful. There's nothing like inside special about the dust jacket or the naked hardcover. There's nothing really on it. It did come with this like leather bookmark, which is nuts and really cool. And then like all Goldsboro books, it is numbered and signed, so that's cool. I did get this, and I'm actually reading this right now, trying to get this finished before the end of July, which is like tomorrow. But this is following two kids who have extraordinary abilities. One of them can heal, and one of them, it has like a bluish glow and can melt and mend flesh. And they are being hunted by this shadow man, and a female detective takes them and is like running them across the country to get them safe to this institute with all other children like this, and the story goes from there. So this is a chonker, but it's a really cool, pretty book, and hopefully when I'm done with it, I can give you my thoughts on it. I like it okay so far. All right, now let's just get into a bunch of the books. We have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is the Waterstones exclusive paperback. I got it because it's blue. It's the blue Jax edition, and I just couldn't resist having it. And it also has a sneak peek for The Ballad of Never After in the back, so you know I was all about that and had to get it. So I did get this. It's so cute and blue, and the flaps are cool. Heroes don't get happy endings. They give them to other people. One of my favorite quotes from this book. And you flip it open, and it says, you have to have a working heart for it to break. And then has another apple with a bite taken out of it. I love it. I love it so much. And you get a little sneak peek of the ballad, like I said. So I did get this. If you've been on this channel, you know what this book is about. You know I love Caraval. So I feel like I don't even have to get into this, but I did get this. The next book I bought, I have had my eye on for a really long time and just never picked up. And then I saw it on Pango for like $2. I'm not even joking. And so I was like, absolutely getting that. And that is The Path of Destruction, a Star Wars novel. And this is book 1 in the Darth Bane series. And it's by Drew Karpyshyn. And first off, this cover, it used to be a different cover. It used to have, I think they're getting new covers in the Essential Legends collection and things like that. They're kind of rebranding it. But I love this cover. It's great. And this is about the Sith Lord Darth Bane. And this is following Darth Bane's rise into power and into like the dark side. So I would love to know more about Darth Bane. And so I was, like I said, I've had my eyes on this for a while and finally picked it up and I'm very excited about it. The next thing I got, because this should be as a surprise to no one, is Lore Olympus Volume 2, because I love Lore Olympus. I'm always caught up on their webtoon, and whenever the volumes come out, I pre-order them and I grab them, and I just get the normal paperback editions. But I had to get volume 2 when it came out, so I have volume 2. I have volume 1 up there. I don't think you can see it at all, but I wanted to get volume 2 because this is an amazing comic. This is probably my most favorite graphic novel ever because what could beat this? If you don't know what this is, I'm sure you do. It's a Hades and Persephone retelling, but it also goes into a lot of different Greek myths, and it's by Rachel Smythe. I never know if it's Rachel Smythe or Rachel Smeeth, but I think it's Rachel Smythe. It goes into a lot of different Greek myths, and you get to see a lot of different characters and legends, and it's just so fantastic and amazing. And it's kind of set in modern day, but if you go into the human world, it's like ancient Greece. So I love this. It is fantastic. You should read this if you haven't. A little while ago, I had mentioned that I picked up the exclusive collector's edition of A Darker Shade of Magic in this style. I really like it, and I just like that it has, you know, artwork on the end pages and it has foiling, and I just love it. So I had already mentioned that I'd picked up this one, and then I found these for a very good price, and so I went ahead and got A Gathering of Shadows collector's edition. More fun end page stuff and foiling. Look at that one, love it. And A Conjuring of Light. I bought all of these secondhand, which just makes it 1,000 times better. I love it. If you don't know what A Darker Shade of Magic is, I've actually not finished the series, I need to, but you're following Kel, who can travel between worlds. There's 4 different Londons. There's Red London, Grey London, White London, and Black London, but Black London was corrupted by magic and no longer exists. Or at least you can't go there anymore, it's like dead. And he accidentally takes an artifact from one London to the next, which you're not supposed to do. And danger and chaos ensue, and it's a really fun series so far. I need to get to the next 2 books, but I wanted to go ahead and get these, and also get the really cool dust jackets from Juniper Books, so judge me all you want. The next book I got is a new release for this year, and I hadn't heard about it before it came out, but then I've heard other people talk about it, including Elliot Brooks, saying it's a really good book and a really good series start, and I really want to read it, so I went ahead and grabbed it when I had a birthday coupon, which is Engines of Empire by R.S. Ford. I've just heard really good things about this, and that's kind of why I picked it up. It's also Orbit. You know how I feel about Orbit. And to be honest, I don't know much about this premise, but it's fantasy. It sounds interesting because it's got machinery in it. And the people that I trust about book reviews were talking very highly of it, so that's why I got it. This little thing on the back says, "From an unmissable voice in epic fantasy comes a sweeping tale of clashing guilds, magic-fueled machines, and revolution." So even that just sounds fantastic. Forged in fire, bound by blood. So I did get this. I'm sorry I don't know much about it, but from what I was hearing about it, it sounded really good, and I wanted to give it a shot. The next book I got is a sequel to a book that I actually did read this year for the first time, and that is Blade Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. I had pre-ordered this, and I have Realm Breaker and recently just read Realm Breaker for the first time this year, like I said, so I went ahead and got the second one. Obviously, I can't really tell you what this book is about because it's the second. The first one is really hard to describe, but you're following a ragtag team of people who are trying to save the world from these creatures coming back and ending the world. But then there's also a villainous character that is trying to bring this about. I feel like it's really complicated and really hard to explain without spoiling something. And that's kind of all I can give you, but it's good. The first book was a lot because I feel like it's setting up a lot. So I'm hoping I like this one more, but I am excited to continue the story. The next one I got, it sounds good, but I honestly got it for my husband as a gift because he loves Pittacus Lore. He read like the whole I Am Number 4 series and loved it. And when Pittacus Lore was coming out with a new series, I went ahead and got this for him because it's a special edition and we found it for like $5. It was nuts. And that is Ashfall Legacy by Pittacus Lore. It's a really cool cover. This is the normal cover, but it's still really cool. And then it's got orange sprayed edges. Pretty cool end papers. The hardcover is amazing and beautiful. I love it. Then the inside of the dust jacket is a dragon. It's so beautiful. I love it. And of course it's signed. This is the Lit Joy Crate edition. I believe this is book 1 in a series, but I'm not positive about that. And the kind of little summary for this book is that 16-year-old half-alien Sydney leaves Earth to seek his long-missing father and unearths a devastating centuries-old secret about humanity. So that sounds crazy and really good, and hopefully John likes this. I will probably read this at some point, but got it more for him. The next one I got was because it was on sale for $2 and I had been hunting it to complete my trilogy, and that is Nightblood by Ellie Blake. This is book 3 in the Frostblood series, and this is the last one. And I had been hunting this to find it on sale for like $2 like I found the other ones, and I finally did. And I'm actually planning on reading Frostblood in August, so this is great timing, but I have the third one for whenever I get to it. Frostblood, for those of you that don't know what it's about, is essentially there are in this class Firebloods that are in hiding, and Frostbloods are the cruel ruling class. And after helping the rebels, she's discovered to be a Fireblood and is thrown into this competition arena to compete against the champion Frostbloods, and I think she falls for a Frostblood prince. Yep. Sounds fun. The next one I got, I had really wanted to get, even though I haven't finished the series yet, and it came out, and I wanted it, but I didn't get it. And then I found it secondhand and was like, it's meant to be, and that is Forging Silver into Stars by Brigid Kemmerer. This is set, I believe it's a prequel series, but it's set in the Cursebreaker trilogy world. And on the back it says 4 royals, 2 thrones, 1 deadly curse, return to Emberfall and Still Shallow in the New York Times bestselling Cursebreaker series. So I don't really know a lot about this, and I probably won't until I finish that series, but I wanted to go ahead and get this on deck, and it's exciting. The next one I got because I had been wanting this for a while, but I didn't want to spend that much money on it, and then I had some credits, and it just worked out, and that is Autumn's Tithe by Hannah Parker, and this is the Bookish Box edition. The cover's really pretty, but that's not why I wanted it. I wanted it because the sprayed edges are also pretty. I wanted it because the inside is beautiful. So this is the inside of the dust jacket, which is fine, very autumn-esque and pretty, but the hardcover is just beautiful. I love this. And it says Autumn's Tithe and has really pretty stuff on the back, and the end pages are beautiful. Look at it. And it is signed. And that's really why I wanted it, is because it looks like this and it's really cool. And on the back it says real answers could only come from within the fairy realm itself, and maybe they could be discovered by a girl who wasn't chosen. And in this world, every so often a girl is chosen by the fae to like cross over and become, I guess, a wife. And her friend is chosen the previous year, but she finds out that her friend is in danger, and so she is not chosen, and so decides to break the treaty and goes into the Fae realm to try to find and save her friend, and ends up making a deal with an autumn Fae prince, because she unwittingly saves his life. And that's kind of all I know about it, but it sounds fun, and it's one of those Fae stories, you know, we'll see how it goes, but it was really pretty, and I was intrigued, so I went ahead and got it. This next one I simply got because I have the UK paperback edition and I don't love it. And so I went ahead and got the US paperback edition because I like it a lot more, and I'll just trade it out because this was secondhand and like $2. And that is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I really love this book. It is a very good mystery and has some kind of sci-fi elements, and it was just a fantastic book. And so I wanted to go ahead and get the cover that I like, and I will get rid of the other cover, but I have this now. If you don't know what this book is about, you're following Aidan Bishop, who is trying to solve this murder case of how Evelyn Hardcastle will die. And he's trying to discover who is killing her. He's trapped in this party, and every day he wakes up in somebody else's body, and he basically has 7 days to solve this mystery. It was fantastic. Read this if you haven't, and if the premise sounds interesting to you at all. This next one I got, I'm not really sure why I got it. I think I'm a little bit intrigued, but don't know much about it, and just decided to give it a shot, so I got it because it was, you know, secondhand and cheap. And that is Gothicana by Runix. I really don't know how to Runix. I really don't know how to say this author's name, but this is a dark gothic romance. And that's all I know about it, to be honest. But I've heard a lot of people really like this, and a lot of people rave about it, and so I was just kind of curious to see what it's about. On the back it says, an unusual girl, an enigmatic man, an ancient castle, what could go wrong? So, I don't know. This is one of those ones where you just hear a lot about it and you're just curious, but you kind of want to go into it blind because you don't really know what it's about. That's this for me. And this other one I was also hunting to get it secondhand because I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on it, and I want to finish the series at some point, and that is The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is a From Blood and Ash novel, so this is the continuation after the first 3 books from Blood and Ash, and then you go into, what is it, A Shadow in the Ember, which is another like Flesh and Fire novel, I believe, so that's like another series it's starting, and you're supposed to read that one in between A Crown of Gilded Bones and The War of Two Queens. So I got The War of Two Queens, so that when I read those 2 books, I can go into this one, and I have it, so yeah. If you don't know what From Blood and Ash is about, I'm not sure who you've been because everybody talks about it, but you're following Poppy, who is a maiden, and you don't really know what that means. And she gets a bodyguard named Hawke, and she is forbidden to have like pleasure or touch or attachment or anything. And he kind of shows her that maybe those things are okay, and then uncovers a lot of sinister mysteries. So yeah, I got this on deck for when I want to continue. This next one I got is also one of those ones that I've been wanting to read for a while and pick up for a while, but never did, and found it for like $2, so I went ahead and grabbed it while I had the chance, and that is The Wicker King by Kay Ingram. And it's a really pretty cover, but from what I know about this, I don't know a whole lot about it, but basically it's two best friends, and you're following the best friend's descent into madness, which is crazy. And on the back it says, August and Jack have never lived in the same world. August is a misfit with a pyro streak, and Jack is a golden boy on the varsity rugby team. But their intense friendship goes way back. And Jack starts to see increasingly more and more vivid hallucinations, and his friend August is trying to help him, but he does it the only way he knows how, by believing him and believing in this fantasy kingdom that Jack is seeing. And they kind of are delving into this like epic fantasy and like going on this dark quest, and throughout this they start alienating everyone around them as they're like descending into insanity. So it sounds heavy and kind of like magical realism, but not. I mean, it's probably just mental health. So it sounds pretty dark but interesting. And what I think is really cool about this book, you can see it in the pages, the farther the book goes, the more the pages show the descent into madness, which is a really cool concept, and I really like that, but it's also kind of scary and dark. So this has intrigued me for a long time, and I just needed to grab a copy of it for when I'm ready to read this. The next one I got, because I got the other two books at a used book sale and then found this secondhand again for a very good price, is Champion by Marie Lu. This is the third book in the Legend series, which I've talked about on my channel in a previous haul because I got the first two books already. And this kind of wraps up the trilogy, and I've just been kind of curious about it. It's a dystopian military series, and I believe the two characters, one is kind of a outskirts of a rebel and one is in the military, and he is discovered because he is framed to have killed the other person's brother, and that's just kind of how it goes. I'm not sure of the plot other than that, but I've been curious about the series for a long time and just decided to go ahead and grab it. The next one I got secondhand, and I wasn't expecting it to be the UK edition paperback, which is fine, I guess. I'm not a big fan of them. But the spine's broken already because it's used, so I don't have to break it myself, because I hate doing that, and that's kind of the reason I don't like UK paperbacks a lot of the time. Anyway, sorry, that was a really long rant. I found this secondhand. I've heard really good things about it. This has been on my wish list for a while because it sounds like an amazing epic fantasy from a debut author, and that is The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. I've heard great things about this. Like I said, it's been on my wish list for a while, and to the point where I'm forgetting what it's about, but I was glad to grab a copy of this while I had the chance to, while it was cheap. And one of the reviews on here says, Lord of the Rings for the modern generation. And on the back it says, a land under occupation, a legendary sword, a young man's journey to find his destiny. And the main character is thrown into a prison mine after his father is executed for treason. And he's rescued by a man who hates him and is yet oath-bound to protect him. And while he breaks them out and while they're going on this journey, they're being pursued by inhuman forces. And the rules that he's lived by all his life that he thought were to protect him may in fact be to imprison them and bind them. And because of this, a revolution is blooming, and the Ember Blade is the key to success. And it's kind of like Excalibur. It's locked in an impenetrable vault, and all they have to do is steal it. So if it sounds amazing, and I've heard so many people rave about this and say like it's the best fantasy they've read in a long time, and I think this author probably did a banging job, so I'm excited to be able to get to this at some point. The next one I got is one of my birthday presents from my husband, because I had been looking for this book for a while and had essentially given up on it, thinking it was impossible to get for a reasonable price, but he was able to do it right before my birthday, which was very sweet. And that is the Faycrete edition of A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. I did read this book and I really liked it, and I got the Faycrete edition of Dance with the Fae Prince and Duel with the Vampire Lord, so I was hoping to have like a matching set, even if the sizes are different, because sometimes that happens with these books. But I had given up on it because this book sells for like $200, and I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. And he found it for an amazing price, and so I was able to get it. The cover itself is normal, except on the back it says Faycrete. The elves come for two things, war and wives. In both cases, they come for death. Has a little signed book plate, but the reason I wanted it is because this hardcover is so beautiful. Oh, look at it. It's got a hook on it and it's blue and fantastic and I love it. And the pages are silver. Oh, I just love it. And so I was very glad I was able to get this to complete my like Fae Crate collection. So he did get me this, which is very sweet. And if you don't know what this is about, basically, they're living in a world where the elves come and they take a wife, and when they do that, they are taken into the Faelands and kind of never seen again. And it's kind of a deal they struck to keep the world flowing and the magic feeding off of each other. But something has been wrong with it and it hasn't been working. And he comes and claims this main character, and they go into the world and are trying to like solve the problem before it's too late. And it's a standalone, but it's like they're all standalone books in the same world, which is fun. And so I did like this. I read this in June and it was a good time, and I would like to continue the series, but I'm glad that I have this one. The next ones that I got as a set because, again, good price. You gotta do what you gotta do when it's a good price. And the reason I picked these up is because I read another one of this author's works and I've really enjoyed it so far. I haven't finished the trilogy, but I've really, really liked it, and I've heard good, if not better, things about this series, and so I had to pick it up because I really liked what I read from the author. And that is the Four Horsemen series by Laura Thalassa. First one being Pestilence. I absolutely despise these covers. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So this is book 1, Pestilence, and like I said, this is the Four Horsemen series, so like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. I believe it's an apocalypse fae type romance situation. Book 2 is War. Book 3 is Famine. And book 4, and my personal favorite, just from the title and image, is Death. And I believe this one came out, let me double check. I believe Death just came out this year. Okay, Death came out in 2021, so it came out recently, so it's just recently kind of wrapped up. And on the back it says, they come to Earth, pestilence, war, famine, death, 4 horsemen riding their screaming steeds, racing to the corners of the world. 4 horsemen with the power to destroy all of humanity, they came to Earth and they come to end us all. And so when Pestilence comes to Sarah's town, she knows that everyone in this town is marked to die. Everyone's gonna die unless she stops them, and so she tries to shoot him down from his horse. But he cannot be killed, and no one told her that, so she's in a pickle. So he takes her as prisoner because he's obviously very mad. And then maybe a romance blooms, and I guess that's how she potentially saves her people. And from what I know about this series is each book focuses on a different horseman, obviously, but also a different pairing. So like Sarah will be in this one, another girl is in this one with War. And so it's all kind of like a different couple for each book. But I like the idea of the 4 horsemen, even though it's kind of scary. It's like biblical apocalyptic stuff and apocalyptic literature and writing, which I believe in the Bible and stuff, so this kind of scary stuff, but I think it's a really cool take on the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, so I'm really interested in reading it and seeing where she takes it, especially because I know I like her writing in the Bargainer series already. So I went ahead and grabbed this because they're expensive if you buy them one by one brand new and not finding them secondhand, and these were brand new, but they were in a bundle, so they were much cheaper, and I jumped on it while I had the chance. So I got the 4 Horsemen series by Laura Thalassa. I think we're getting near the end. Look at us go. The next one I got secondhand because it's also one of those ones I've been curious about and just need to know for myself is Promises and Pomegranates by Sav R. Miller. This is book 1 in the Monsters and Muses, and from what I know about this is they are a series of books that are all based on different myths. So this one is based off of Hades and Persephone, and I didn't know this originally until I opened this up because there's a little author's note in here and it says, Cal and Elena's story is a dark contemporary romance based loosely on the framework and characters of the myth of Hades and Persephone. Please be aware this is not fantasy, historical romance, or a literal retelling. So I wasn't necessarily aware of that before. I did think they were all kind of fantasy romances, but this is saying it's a dark contemporary. So we'll see how I feel about this. I'm not a huge contemporary person, so if I don't like this, I can pass this on to somebody else. But I was kind of curious about it, and I would like to give it a shot and know what I think about it. So I did grab this secondhand for a good price, and we'll see how it goes. The next one I got is a new release for this year, and I've been really excited about it since I've heard people talk about it. When I read the synopsis, I thought it sounded amazing, but it hadn't been on my radar for like anticipated releases or anything, but I went ahead and picked it up, and that is The Bladed Faith by David Dalglish. First off, the cover, it's great. And on the back, it says, every shadow hides a truth, every hero hides a lie. A usurped prince will take up the mantle of a deadly assassin to reclaim his kingdom, his people, and his slain gods. And that just sounds great. And so it's a prince that's being held prisoner, and in order to exact vengeance when he gets freed is to take up this skull mask and become an assassin. And he's got like otherworldly skill and becomes like the figurehead of a rebellion, but I think it's kind of not as what it seems at first, but it just sounds so good. And so I'm very glad to have this, and hopefully I can get to this very soon and let you know my thoughts on it because it sounds great. And last but not least, I got book 4 in the Sun Eater series, Kingdoms of Death by Christopher Ruocchio. I recently read, this is a little bit of a spoiler for my reading wrap up, but not really because you know my TBR. I recently read Empire of Silence, which is book 1 in the Sun Eater series by Christopher Ruocchio, and I really liked it. Sorry, a little bit of spoiler. And I had book 2 and book 3, and book 4 was on sale for $8. This is a hardcover adult sci-fi fantasy thing. $8. Brand new. I had to get it. I had no choice, really. So I went ahead and got it while I had the chance, because apparently all of these go out of print. I knew the first one had gone out of print, but apparently all of them do, and so not cool. So I got this. I also pre-ordered a signed edition of the 5th one, whatever. But yeah, so I really like this series so far, and I was happy to have another one. So if you don't know what the Sun Eater series is about, basically you're following Hadrian Marlowe, and you're just going through his life. So the first one's good. There's a chunk of it that's a little slower, but I really liked it overall, and I wasn't necessarily bored, but there is a little bit of a lull. And all you know about it is that you're following him, and that you know from the beginning that he's going to go dark and he's going to be a villain. And the pitch of the series is, what if Anakin turning into Darth Vader was the right choice? And he kind of like eradicates a lot of people and commits a lot of genocide. So that's how you know going into it. But you don't know like when that happens or the time frame, but it's just like a villain origin story type of a situation. And so I am all about that. I love those stories. So I have book 4 now. That's that. No, it's really cool. I think Christopher Ruocchio is doing a good job with this series so far, and can't wait to continue it. So I said last but not least, and then I remembered that this book literally arrived today, and it was a pre-order, and that is Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Ernshaw. This is a Nightmare Before Christmas book, and it is from the perspective of Sally as the Pumpkin Queen. So it's set right after or a little bit after the events of the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas, where she is with Jack and she gets married and she becomes the Pumpkin Queen, and then is kind of struggling with dealing with the fact that she is a queen and she wants to be the same person she used to be, and she doesn't want all these expectations and responsibility, and she kind of has her own personal crisis like Jack had in The Nightmare Before Christmas. And so she goes on a walk and ends up finding Dreamtown, and through trying to seek out different comforts and stuff, she unleashes some chaos and has to deal with it just like Jack. And I did read this. I have a review up for this. It should already be up, and I can link it down below. I did read this early and get a review up for you guys. I did really like it, but I did get this and was very excited about it because I love The Nightmare Before Christmas. So that is all of the books that I got in the last few months, and some books that I got for my birthday, which was a lot of fun. I'll keep you posted on when I'm gonna get my tattoo. Please comment down below if you've read any of these books, recommend any of these books, or which book you're excited about hearing my thoughts on. But that is it for today's video. So please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.